Okay, last group of books for this session. 10 plays by Euripides, so that's Greek. Greek. Recommendation from Cropper, I guess. Carl Sagan, The Dragons of Eden. Speculations on the evolution of human intelligence. There's a picture of him there. I'll give you the year. 77. So Carl Sagan's a very good science writer. If you're interested in science, and there's no reason why you shouldn't be, at least in basic stuff. The complete plays of Sophocles. So I have another book on Sophocles, the Oedipus plays, which only has 4 plays in it. So this has got the complete. So that's done then, right? That's another Greek. I believe he's a writer on tragedy, so it's worth having. There's Homer's The Odyssey. I guess the year these are published aren't really that useful because they're just remakes. So anyways, that's classical. I guess we'll stick with the theme. There's Thucydides' History of the Peloponnesian War. So I think that was Sparta versus Greece. I think that was, yes. Oh, Athens. Well, yes, the Greeks. Athens versus Sparta. So, yes, there's another Greek history by a Greek historian, Thucydides. Also, if you remember previously, Herodotus, The Histories, is another Greek history book. A Greek history writer. Here's another book, Ancient Greece, From Prehistoric to Hellenistic Times by Martin. This is printed in 96, Yale University Press. So, okay, that might be it for Greece. I guess I've got this one too. Here's Plato. The reason I picked this up, it was $1. The reason I picked this up is for this one, Euthyphro. I don't know what it is, but I don't have it. It wasn't in that other book that I showed you in just the previous video. I think Apology and Credo are common, but this Euthyphro one is not. So now we have it. Okay, this is I picked this up for $2 at a publisher sale. Oxford University Press was there. All kinds of education publishers, although Oxford University Press does far more than education. So they were there and they offered a bunch of books for $2. So I got this one, Treasure Island, $2, by Stevenson. And I got Rousseau's Discourse on Inequality, $2. So that was a steal. Brand new copies. They also had a bunch of books. There were some plays, people I hadn't heard of, fairly thick. Could have bought, but for $2, but they weren't even names that I could recognize, so I didn't think it'd be worthwhile. It wouldn't be read, so pointless. Even if it was $1, it'd be pointless. They also had the King James Bible there for $2. Really? We really need any more Bible printing? I think we've got enough Bibles to go around forever. Okay, here's the Autobiography of Malcolm X. So, you should know who Malcolm X is. Jeez. If you don't, you should go find out. He was a leader of African American, what do you call it? Emancipation, I guess? Racism and stuff like that. So, yes, so I got his autobiography. Here's Dante's The Divine Comedy. So, The Divine Comedy is the Inferno. What's the other two? Now I have to look them up. I have the Inferno in my library. It'll be in one of the previous videos. So it's the Inferno, the Purgatorio, and the Paradiso. So it's going through hell. It's a journey of a person going through hell. There's so many rings of hell. And then there's an in-between, which is Purgatorio, I think. And then Paradiso is supposed to be about heaven. So that's Dante. That's brand new. Once in a while I get stuff off of, there's an online seller called UK Book Depository. They sometimes have some good stuff on there. When I buy books, I go Amazon, Abe Books, ABE Books, Book Depository. Those are the three. I check the prices on those. And 90% of my books would be from Abe. 90% of the books I buy online are Abe. Some stuff I get off Amazon, some stuff I get off maybe 20% off Amazon, 10% or maybe 5% off of UK Book Depository. Peter C. Newman, Merchant Princes. Newman, I think, is a popularist author, which is fine. I think this is a history book, Volume 3, Company of Adventurers. So this is, what is it? Hudsons Bay Company history. Hudsons Bay Company was a Canadian fur trading business in Canada. They bought furs and they also trapped themselves. They bought furs from the natives and they also trapped themselves, and they sold it to Europe and made tons of money. And they're still alive today. They're just called the Bay in Canada. So this is a history of fur trade in Canada, Northwest Canadian history, to 1870. So, fine, I'll have it. I mentioned in a previous video, a couple videos ago, about another poetry book I had. I thought I already mentioned it, but I didn't. It's right here. Alexander Pope, The Poetry of Pope. So there's some interesting stuff in here. Short poems, but funny little things that he wrote. So there's one in particular here that I got off of Cropper's channel. Essay on Criticism is kind of interesting, kind of funny. So, and there's also probably his most famous was what he said about Isaac Newton, and it's actually right here. It's only 2 lines. So it says, nature and nature's laws lay hid in night. God said, let Newton be, and all was light. That's probably his most famous little 2-liner, but... Okay, here's the Gulag Archipelago. This is volume 3, so there's more volumes. But this is about Russia, history of Russia, history of, well, bad stuff in Russia. So, I got volume 3. I don't know if I'll find the other ones, but if I ever get an itching to write about, or to read about Russia, I can always just get the other 2 volumes online. But, so this will be good. Okay, here's another one from Greece. Virgil, or Rome. I think it might be Rome. Virgil, the Aeneid. What was this about? Yeah, he's a Roman poet. This is an epic of Troy, fall of Troy. So that'll be history, or Greek or Roman literature. I don't know, both maybe. The Mismeasure of Man by Stephen J. Gould. I think he's a little bit critical of, he doesn't attribute all of man's successes to himself. Things like that. He's a bit critical, but anyways, this is, I think it's critical of the history of man right now as it's given. Scientific racism. Oh, okay, now I know. This was written. It came before the bell curve, I'm pretty sure, when it was published. But it was published in 81. This was a critique of at the time, the research that was going on about race and intelligence. So this is supposed to be a critique of that. It even says here on the back, study of scientific racism. He presents the fascinating historical study hereditary and IQ theory. So he criticizes that stuff. Misuse of data. Disastrous history of psychometrics. So there you go. Yeah. Okay, here's another book by Freud. A General Introduction to Psychoanalysis. So, by Freud. I think this is a book by Freud and not just like an edited work of his. It says 1924, 1975. Yeah, this must be by Freud. So, if I ever really want to get into that, I don't know, but I think it's something that people should have on hand. Okay, here's a compiled book. It's called The Empiricists. Locke, John Locke, Berkeley, I don't know what his first name was, but David Hume is down here. So it's got Locke's, an essay on, concerning human understanding. I also have John Locke's book on thoughts concerning, I don't think it's called Thoughts Concerning Education, I'm not sure. Something like that, though. Berkeley's Principles of Human Knowledge, and Hume's An Inquiry Concerning Human Understanding, and Dialogues Concerning Natural Religion. So, all in one volume. Sounds good. 18th Century Europe, Tradition and Progress, 1715 to 1789, by Woloch. So that's 82. So that'll be his history book to have. Here's an objectivist book that I caught, my eye caught it. David Harriman, The Logical Leap, Induction in Physics. The problem of induction. The problem of induction is that if you witness an event, like the sun comes up, how many times you have to see that event before you can claim it as a law, or claim it that it will come up next time without seeing it. That is considered the problem of induction, but the objectivists, this introduction with Leonard Peikoff's in here too. Also, he has an essay in Introduction to Objectivist Epistemology about this as well. Objectivists disagree that there is a problem. Don't ask me to outline that argument. It's about analytics versus synthetics, something like that. But anyways, this is a book on the philosophy of science, and it's a good idea. It's an interesting question because philosophy is in everything. Even science itself has a foundation of philosophy. Number one, it has to assume the world is orderly, right? That's an assumption. You can consider that an induction problem. So, philosophy of science is very important. And so this is a book on the topic, a book on this particular problem. And it offers a solution. So, okay, oh yes. Nietzsche's Thus Spake Zarathustra. This is a really, I haven't read it, but I've watched some YouTube videos on it, including Croppers. This is actually a really neat, very well written, poetic, entertaining book about, about Nietzsche. It's about tons of stuff. Like, he just makes all kinds of little comments here and there. But it's an adventure, but it's philosophical. So that's a good one. This is a good one to read. People should read that one in Candide. Okay, one more. This is a really old book. It was like $4 and came from England. He made money somehow. Somebody made money selling me a book from England for $4. You can imagine. Arnold Toynbee, famous historian. So this is The Study of History by Toynbee, abridged. Abridged means that the good stuff's been kept in. It's not the unabridged. Unabridged means that everything's in. So it says here the abridged of volumes 1 through 6. So this is 1947. It's old, as you can see. You can barely probably read that. Alright, that's my new books for... I should be putting dates on these. Today is June the 13th. it's June the 13th, so 2012.